All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the first live stream of June. And I, as many or some of you may know, I had to skip last week's live stream. So there wasn't one last week. If you're looking for it and thinking that maybe it got copyright stricken by something. Nope, it was because I was actually pretty busy and I have been pretty busy. And I have been off of social media for like all of June, or
Wow,
the
that's a
last couple
miracle.
weeks.
But
So
how have you functioned without social media?
it's kind of weird with me. Like when I've been, hey, tilting. I can't believe that you weren't around last week during our live stream when we were talking about you. But
Just terrible.
yeah, I just can't sometimes. But yeah, it's kind of weird. Like when I'm, I don't miss it when I'm away from social media. I mean, like I was away just because I was just so busy. So I was too busy to even think about social media. But sometimes I do feel like I'm, letting some people, like on Twitter, there's some few people I constantly engage with. So I feel like, oh no, I'm letting them down because I'm not there for them. But it's just, it's not a big deal. I think in the past, I was like a lot more, shall I say, addicted to social media. But I think that's kind of gone. But it's like, when I was constantly on the YouTube comments, but then, now that I've kind of stopped making comments there, I don't necessarily miss it because it's always like the same thing. It
No.
hasn't,
Yeah,
it
you're
hasn't
right.
really changed. But anyway, that was me. Let me turn it over to the rest of the panel. How has everyone been, and anything interesting going on the last couple weeks?
Well, I had my birthday.
Happy
Oh,
birthday!
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
thank
We
you.
had already. That was like 2 weeks ago, where we gave you like an early birthday, right? Or
Yes,
gave you early birthday wishes.
yes,
I
thank
was
you.
missed that part.
Much appreciated. Got a chance to spend the day with friends, just hanging out, doing some really fun stuff. And a couple days after that, my friends took me to a Metallica concert, which was really
Yes.
fun. Yeah. Um,
What? They're
I
still around?
Wait,
funny,
wait
that's what they said about their fans. I'll tell you, their sound designer is an absolute genius. We were in the middle upper seats, and it was still just as loud and obnoxious as if we were down there in the pit. It was a lot of fun. So,
Wow.
and um, just real quick,
Wait,
to give an
was it a large venue or?
oh yeah, it was a stadium.
oh yeah.
Wow.
Oh
Wow.
yeah,
Nice.
fire. They had fireworks and flamethrowers and everything. It was
Amazing.
yeah, it was really massive. Um,
Did
so
you say Metallica?
yes,
Yeah, I've seen them twice. Brilliant.
yeah.
Loved it. I got assaulted at my hotel after the show,
Oh,
but and got my nose broken.
was it worth it
Oh,
though?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, but
You're
nothing to do
you're
with the
doing
show.
it back. You're doing it wrong because you're supposed to get
Yeah,
assaulted at the concert,
at the
not
At
at
the
the
concert.
yeah,
show.
market,
I
man.
know. No, just in the hallway of my hotel
Wow.
by an obnoxious
Okay.
guy whose girlfriend had told him to piss off, and he
Uh,
was there banging on the door, bang, 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 in the middle of the night. And stepped out, tell him to fuck off. We're trying to sleep, and then bam, got it in the face. But yeah, seen them twice. Saw Metallica play in Australia at Brisbane Exhibition Centre back at the same time Oasis was touring
Oh, nice.
many years back,
oh, what?
and I got 2 hours 40 minutes of a Metallica concert, like 2 hours 40 minutes of them playing almost continuously,
Yeah.
and Oasis come out, did 20 minutes, told everyone to go fuck themselves, and walked off stage.
Oh yeah.
Hey,
At least they were
Awesome.
there.
Brilliant. Really good shows. Highly recommend.
Excellent. Okay, so and also just a real quick update on Dad. So he spent the last week in intensive care. His blood pressure dropped pretty significantly. They had him on various medications. The last couple days, they were watching him like a hawk. He's now off of the medications that were necessary to regulate his blood pressure, and they're going to move him out of the ICU into the patient care unit, which is sort of a, in terms of intensive care, it's a less severe, and they're actually talking about once they're convinced that his blood pressure can regulate on its own, then they'll sign off on releasing him home.
Okay. That's the last hurdle, pretty much.
Yeah.
What was the reason for the drop?
So they found signs of infection.
Ooh.
And in fact, for a while there, we weren't sure if it was a problem with one of his heart valves or if the problem was the infection. They found out that it was an infection, so they've been aggressively treating it with antibiotics, pain meds, and various palliative care. And like I almost was late getting here tonight because I came straight from the hospital to get on with you guys. But they also visiting hours ended like an hour ago, so it's not like I stole away from my dad's deathbed to be with you guys. You're pretty important to me, but you're not that important, I promise.
I hear you.
So that's
bloody rude to you.
Yeah, my bad.
I thought we were your best friends, man.
You think a lot of things, Steve.
I know I do. That's a problem.
No, however, I did tell him that you guys are rooting for him, that you guys are keeping him in your thoughts, that I talk about you every week. And he just wants me to pass along just how much he appreciates it and how much he just loves the fact that, you know, he's got people rooting for him. So, again, thank you, gentlemen.
You're welcome. You're very much welcome.
Yeah, we really
And all around the planet.
Yeah, exactly.
He's an international celebrity now.
He's got 24 hours.
That is right. Yes, he is an international celebrity.
Yeah. And he said, all my life I've wanted to be famous. All right, so I'm gonna hop off just long enough because I'm on my phone right now. So I'm gonna hop off and hop back in off of my laptop.
All right.
So I'll see you guys in a second.
Okay.
See you in a bit.
How about the rest of you guys? How are you guys doing?
I'll go
Too
next.
bad. I'm a bit worn out. Yesterday, I had to take down my parents' pagoda and then put up their new sun umbrella.
That wasn't that big.
And the bolts on the pagoda weren't screw tops and were rusted. So I had to use two wrenches, and spent 2 hours just slowly taking it apart, bolt by bolt.
Ooh.
In the
you said,
unusually hot sun.
You said pagoda?
Pagoda? I don't know how you pronounce it.
Pagoda. It's pagoda.
Pagola. Is it like a little structure in the garden? Or is it a Chinese temple?
Yeah, this one was metal though, as opposed to the wood, as they usually would.
Yeah, but it's not meant to look like a Chinese temple. It's just a little space to sit in the garden.
Yeah,
so
a little
pergola.
square thing with a roof and a
pergola with an L.
Okay.
With an L.
Pagodas are those Chinese temples.
Okay, right. I'll have to remember that.
Yeah, easy mistake to make. Yeah, I made it too, so don't feel bad.
Or as some people call them, pergolas, which yeah, I
Ah.
think they're getting that emphasis on the wrong syllable there.
Well, let me actually let me see if I can darn it, show it. Just did a quick search on it, and let me. So, is this what you were working on, or is it
Ooh.
more
hang on.
like a pagoda?
So yeah, so the first one in a sort of metal frame
Oh, it's
Ah.
and
this?
square. Yeah.
Oh, really? Oh,
Well, like the
wow.
one on the right there.
Like this? But it's
hang on.
kind of like it. I mean, it's like this, but it's metal, like this.
Yeah, so it's basically got an arch roof as well, so it's
Okay.
sort of
So
like
kind of like a
hexagonal
hybrid
roof
almost.
with 4 poles.
Ah, I see. I just assumed it was. You know,
No,
I.
it wasn't one of those.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd be tired after pulling one of
Oh,
those
yeah.
down for sure.
I mean, that would have taken me more
see.
than 2 hours.
This
Oh,
would be
just
pretty cool to have.
Very
Yeah.
nice.
yeah.
Uh, oh,
You
this is
could build a
Japanese one.
pergola in the form of a pagoda. That would be interesting in a
Yeah.
backyard.
Yeah. Huh. Wait, so what do you do on your pergola? It's just like you're just kind of outside and you just kind of have a shade?
Yeah, it's just a
And
little
you,
shady thing that's not really
okay.
connected to anything.
Interesting.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I'm more
On the
used
patio.
to the wooden type.
Yeah, unfortunately, wood rots over here.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't know there was like these metal ones. Got it. Oh, I guess you could have kind of this sort of Asian inspired design.
Kind of like a hybrid almost.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All right. So you were taking that down for your
so I
parents?
was taking that down. Yeah,
Okay.
and I was rather hoping that the bolts would have screw heads, so I just need the electric screwdriver and do it in like half an
All
hour.
right.
But
So here is what I was actually thinking when you were saying pergola. It's like I guess I was thinking more of a gazebo. Isn't
Yeah.
this more of a gazebo?
Yeah,
That could be
no,
more like a gazebo type of setup, yeah.
Yeah. This isn't really a pergola, is it?
Well, yeah, sort of it is. I think they're in some places they use the terms interchangeably. But
Between a gazebo and pergola?
yeah, certainly we do here in Australia. We kind of overlap the terms. But
well, I
it
can't
may
even get
well
the
be
name
that
right.
more formally that hexagonal sort of shape or that sort of roundish sort of structure is
Yeah.
maybe that was a more original form of it, and yeah, I don't know, but we do seem to use the terms interchangeably.
So, Neil, did your parents have a was it actually was the top like a roof, or was it just open?
It was had like a gazebo type roof with
Okay.
a fabric covering, waterproof
Oh,
fabric covering.
so it's kind of like this, right? Some kind of covering at the top to block
Yeah,
out like rain. Okay.
so
Interesting.
it'll
All
provide
right.
the shade and also keep you dry.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, interesting. Okay. So that was like a little project for you.
Yep, and I remembered that I suddenly had muscles in my back.
Oh, yeah.
So after an hour, it's like, oh, that should not be twinging.
Those are the best kind.
Oh.
You can annoy them. Yeah, back muscles. I'll get
So
on
this,
the mine.
yeah, so this
after
morning
you.
was interesting. Suddenly moving, going, oh, ow, ow, ow.
Oh, don't give out on me now, man.
Yeah, we don't
It's
spend
really
enough
yeah,
time
I'm not 20
outside
anymore.
to actually need one of those things.
Well, yeah, we get a couple of bits of sun in a year, so
Yeah. Interesting.
Those
All right.
those sort of muscles are called DOMS, delayed onset muscular soreness, and they think it's got something to do with sort of little micro tears
yeah,
that
sounds
occur
right.
in the muscles that aren't used to the to what's being asked of them. So you tend to get them when you do something you haven't done for a while, or particularly where you've got also where you've got an eccentric loading of the muscle, which means it the load increases as the muscle gets longer, rather than the usual way, like you lift up something, the muscle shortens as the weight gets heavier. So that tends to happen. But many years ago, I used to go to the gym on and off, and occasionally I'd lose inspiration and quit it for some length of time, and it'd probably been 12 months since I quit it, and I got all keen one day and just went back to the gym and just got into it. And the thing was, I was reasonably strong, so when I got into it, I did quite a number of sets of everything basically, and worked them really hard without thinking about it. That is the most catastrophic set of DOMs that I could possibly imagine. I couldn't reach my face with my hands because the tricep muscles on the back of my arms were so sore. I had to kind of just press them up against the table and just gently stretch them. I couldn't even reach my face with a spoon. It was I couldn't lift my arms above my shoulders. So climbing into a t-shirt was interesting. This was when I was at uni, and pick my uni bag up, throw it up. I couldn't put it up on my shoulder, so I had to just sort of swing it backwards and forwards, and then kind of toss it up and step into it. It just went on for a whole week of that. It was spectacular. Like every single part of my entire body was that, and yeah, we'll call that a lesson learned. Yeah, that was bad. It was also hilarious too, because I entirely deserved everything I got there. So
Yeah, well, at least you don't have to deal with back problems all the time like me. I got to a car wreck about a decade ago. While the injury wasn't bad, problem is though, when I do a lot of work or put a lot of pressure on it, I'm going to be feeling for the next couple of days, even if I don't do anything.
yeah. Well, I got that same issue at the moment. About 12 months, maybe it's 12 months ago now. While I was doing deadlift at the gym, something didn't go well, and I injured some part of my lower back. I thought it was maybe the joint between the backbone and the hip. There's a joint there. Got injured, but it might well have been a disc or something of that nature. But yes, ever since been putting up with restless legs, which I get occasionally anyway, but it's been exacerbated. And then if I don't do things correctly, it comes along and bites me in the ass. So I had almost tripped over a thing I was doing with the mower the other day, and that has upset it quite a lot actually. So it's entirely enjoyable, but that's all right. I'll still go to the gym and still lift weights. It's not going to make it any worse. So
Yeah.
Well, your muscles are great though.
But so I suppose since I'm talking, last night was a birthday party for my wife. It's her birthday
nice.
in a couple of days.
Well, another happy birthday to your wife then.
And a close friend of ours as well. It was her birthday yesterday or day before, as it happens. So we had a barbecue and invited a gang around, and I sous vide a pile of
Oh, nice.
a pile of lamb, and yeah, it apparently went down well. She cooked a pavlova, which the youngest one there, she said, "Anyone want pavlova?" And the little one, she sticks up a hand and says, "I do. What's a pavlova?" So yeah, there wasn't any of it left at the end of it. That's for sure.
Do you use your sous vide very often?
On and off. Yeah, I've done quite a few things in it. But yeah, it's kind of an interesting way of cooking food. But
Do you think it's
yeah,
actually worthwhile?
I've got a little one that doesn't take up a lot of space. So it's just, it looks a bit like a big fat stick blender. And you just clip it on the side of a container, and it's got a heating element and a stirring element in it. So it's fairly straightforward. That's it. That's all you need. You can get away without even having a vacuum sealer with just Ziploc bags. Will do the job just fine. And you can seal the stuff in them by just using a water displacement method. You just basically put the Ziploc bag with the lid top slightly open and put it down into water so that just the top edge is free. It squeezes all the air out, and then you can just zip it closed, and it's good to go. So yeah, it's nice. You can make some pretty interesting things. Actually, I've done creme brulee in my sous vide as well, which turned out amazing. The bonus of it, you can't stuff creme brulee up if you sous vide. You can't ever get it hot enough to cause it to curdle. So yeah, the result is perfection every time. So yeah, it was a very good night.
I hear you.
That's me.
How about you, Steve-O?
I had a vacation last week from my workplace finally after over a year. Problem was, though, it didn't turn out the way I liked it.
What happened?
You know how I told you about how my mom was having back problems? As we thought at first it was sciatica, but she went to a different doctor and found out it's worse. She has spinal issues.
What does that mean?
4 of her lumbar spine vertebrae are cracked.
Oh, wow.
And it looks like there's compression with a couple of the cervical discs in between them too. But the doctor couldn't be for sure because the MRI that we were looking at from was from her hip, and she only saw part of the spine. So he had to go get a new set of X-rays done, and we're just waiting to hear back to see just how bad it is.
It is important to be careful with that sort of imaging, though, because there isn't a good correlation between bad images and pain. So if you go and look at any person who's, say, 40 to 50 years old, something like 70% of them will have bulging discs, even if they have no back pain of any kind. It just doesn't correlate particularly well. Imaging, but cracked bones, those definitely those are things that do it. And if you've got any sort of nerve issues going on that cause something, that is potentially something that's a little bit more worth noting. But yeah, normally imaging doesn't help very much with back pain, and it doesn't really change what the treatment is.
Yeah, I understand that, but it's just mainly just depending on how bad the actual injury is, because the images he only had a partial look at the spine itself. He didn't get a full look at it, so he only was going by what he could see, what little bit he could see, because they didn't get to a good image of it at first.
Yeah.
So they had to get X-rays. He wanted the X-rays so that we could get a better look at it, and we're just waiting to hear back and see what the prognosis is.
Yeah, well, as I said, just be a little careful about that sort of imaging, as to it's got degenerative processes and stuff like that, and you just go,
yeah,
well,
I
pretty
know.
much everybody's back has that. So heard a doctor talking about it in a kind of interesting way. It'd be like going to a doctor and describing, him looking at your wrinkles and saying, you've got degenerative skin disease. And you go, yeah, no shit, Dick Tracy.
Yeah, I
So,
completely understand. Yeah, it's going to be a process right now. It's not going to be just
yeah.
they're just really just
Mm.
finding out the what's going on. So it's still work in progress. My other issue is that she's still in a lot of pain, and there's not much they can do for
Yeah.
her.
Yeah, that's exactly right. See, that's the thing. Pain is a really weird thing. It's there's so many elements that go into the experience of it, and even if there is no actual cause, no physiological thing you can poke a finger at and say, that's the thing that does it, which is the case most of the time, it can still be absolutely freaking debilitating.
Yeah,
The idea, you're saying that I'm imagining my pain. You go, well, yeah, well, technically, yes, everybody imagines pain because that's how pain works. But it doesn't make it not real.
yeah,
Yeah, pain is
yeah,
real.
yeah. What's worse is that she's going through what my dad did before he passed away because he had issues with his back, but though I couldn't find out the exact cause, and he was in a lot of pain too. So it's kind of like a double whammy.
Yeah, weirdly, one of the most effective treatments for back pain, particularly what's called uncomplicated back pain, so stuff that is just it's pain, but it doesn't come with any of the other issues of obvious nerve involvement, is lifting heavy weights with that back. It retrains the brain and retrains the back to consider what is happening to it as normal. You don't.
Yeah,
You receive what's called nociception. It's not pain. It's not. You don't have pain signals in your body. You have nociceptors, and then the brain interprets those nociceptors to say, oh, well, is this pain or is this just normal? For example, if you're just walking around on your bare feet are the nociceptors in your feet are sending signals to your brain saying, things are happening, but your brain is used to it and identifies that as just normal if you're just walking around, and doesn't turn that into pain. But if you're not used to walking on gravel, for example, and you walk out on that barefoot, all of a sudden, you think that is novel. So your brain thinks, well, that's something I should pay attention to.
yeah,
So it's a weird process, pain, and it's why all the quackery around things like chiropractic works, because if you tell someone that this thing will relieve their pain, if the person believes them, then it actually does do the thing that was claimed. It's odd.
yeah,
And you get a lot of people who get that weird pain just from touch, where they're basically their nociceptors have been so dazzled that every sensation is considered pain. And so you get
Well,
people who can't walk because
you get
every
that
touch on their foot. Yeah.
with people who are coming off of opiates as well. It's the reason
That was the
opium come
opiate.
down to
I
so
can't remember
bad,
what the cause was.
because your body has been telling its brain to ignore these nociception for a long time. So your brain actually keeps up ramping its. It wants to detect everything as about a normal amount of nociception.
Yeah.
So you take these painkillers, the nociception quantity goes down, so your brain upregulates the amount of notice it pays, and then you take away the opiates, and all of a sudden you've got this flood of nociception, and your brain just goes, oh my god, and then just being touched by your t-shirt is enough to cause extreme pain.
Mm.
So yeah.
I mean, I would imagine that the doctor that Steve-O's mom's going to are probably aware of those things, and
They can.
um, I mean, because we don't. I mean, right? We don't know what the diagnosis is. We
No,
haven't
no, no,
seen the
no. I'm
MRI. So
Oh no,
I'm
no.
not trying to preempt any of that. Just saying that there is a changing world in which the way in which pain is understood is different to the way most people sort of understand it. And some doctors can say things like one of these doctors was also talking about an example he had of a patient who had been bedbound for 30 years. Like there was nothing wrong with her. She could walk, but she'd been bedbound for 30 years, and they're asking, he asked her what's the reason, what's happening here, and she said, oh, basically she told him that 30 years ago a doctor told her that she had ruptured a disc in her back, and she took it to mean that, and the doctor said if you're not careful, you'll become paralyzed, and she thought that meant for the rest of her life. So she just got into bed and never got out again because she thought that the thing that happened is something that would live with her forever. And yes, the moment she got out of bed and started moving around, it would result in her damaging her spinal cord, and that would be the end of it. She wouldn't be able to walk again. So she never walked again. So words doctors say apparently are it's just it's a throwaway or a something, but can be interpreted really weirdly by not the way the doctors intended at all.
Yeah, it depends also how much the person knows about the terminology or what's going on with their bodies.
Yeah, that's exactly it, and what their sort of understanding their self-efficacy is as well. So, yeah, I quite like the that set of doctors and their detailed understanding of pain. So, and detailed explanations are really interesting. They're the barbell medicine guys, a fellow by the name of Jordan Feigenbaum and Austin Baraki. So practicing medical physicians.
I mean, Steve, we definitely hope your mom gets better. And looks like I didn't realize.
I totally forgot.
Hey!
I finally forgot to get John back in here. Damn it, Q!
Sorry, I didn't realize that we had lost you.
So we now know what you need to do to keep me quiet for more than 5 minutes at a time.
No, he's not gonna be quiet. He's gonna be typing all the time in the comments.
Well,
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly
I think the key is like pretending to see that you're on the stage. So
Hypnotized. He's there, but he's not.
I seriously, I'm sitting here going, in 5 more minutes, I'm going to start taking this personal.
I did want to mention a couple of things that Blarg had brought up last week, which obviously we didn't get to discuss since we didn't have a stream last week. But one of them was the death cap mushroom murder, and the other one that we can talk about is that whole Jordan Peterson fiasco. But let's start with the death cap mushroom thing, specifically the comment that she had made about, her being a fundamentalist atheist. So, Blar, can you give us a little background on the death cap mushroom
This is gonna be
murder?
interesting.
Yeah, sure. So there's it's been a really big story in Australia. Every single news channel you turn on basically has daily updates of the court case. So it's a big one because it doesn't happen very often. But essentially,
But it has it increased, like the popularity of death cap mushroom soup?
Well, I don't know anyone who's gone and followed it up yet, but certainly, people are much more aware of this as an issue than they were a couple of years ago.
Actually, it would be interesting. How often are people actually killed by accidentally ingesting death cap mushroom? Do you know?
Pretty damn rare.
Okay.
Like death cap is the worst of all. It's the easiest one to mistake for something else, for a normal sort of field mushroom, and it's the most dangerous of all of them. But even then, most people it's It's well, death cap definitely accounts for almost all of the deaths due to mushrooms around the world, but they're still pretty damn rare. The problem with mushroom poisoning, though, is once the mushroom poisoning has started, it can't. There is no treatment. There's no cure. There's no. They can give you some stuff to try and help maintain your systems, oxygen and stuff like that, just to try and keep it going. But there is no antidotes. There's nothing to. It basically just destroys the mitochondria, and yeah, that's it. You're done.
But that's the powerhouse of the cell.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
By the way,
Is
so
is that because it's fungus based?
Well,
okay,
no, there's lots of
so
things
wait,
that attack.
I thought
Sorry.
you were going to like make some kind of like pun, but
Yeah, no,
that
yeah.
seemed like
Every once in a while, I'm not a complete jackass. This is a real question.
okay.
No, is the fact that it's mushrooms are fungus based, and so that as it interacts with our systems, that's what causes it to be irreversible. Do we know?
No. It's just simply because that particular toxin gets into the mitochondria and interferes with that complex process that produces ATP and shuts it down, and it can't be restarted essentially. So there's lots of things that interfere with it. For example, cyanide poisoning also works the same way, but in some ways that can be treated because cyanide's a small, easy molecule to deal with. It can be dealt with chemically. Mushrooms are a lot more difficult to treat.
By the
there
way,
is now.
it seems
Sorry,
like
go on.
there are about 50 to 100 deaths per year attributed to the death cap mushroom. In the U.S., it's about 1 to 3 deaths. Apparently, there is more common in countries that are maybe like more into mushroom gathering or something. But
Yeah.
the other thing is I didn't see anything about it being on mitochondria, but it seems like the toxin amatoxin is actually it inhibits RNA polymerase 2, which is a pretty important enzyme
So that might be
responsible
the
for
one.
it's responsible for transcribing DNA into mRNA. So without that, it basically protein synthesis halts. And it looks like it binds to the RNA polymerase 2 very tightly. So it essentially causes cell death because protein synthesis halts. So it's like it's at a entirely cellular level, not just at the mitochondria.
Yeah. So that's it. There must be another one I was thinking of that does that. As I said, there's lots of toxins that hit mitochondria, but that's it. It just stops the cells. Once it gets into the cell, basically you're stuffed, and nothing you can do. There was a paper from last year, I think, that found a treatment using AI. It went through, so they know how the toxin gets into the cell. They know the gate that it uses to get in through the cell wall. So what they went looking for is sent AI to look through all of the drugs that have already been approved for human use and see if any of those might bind to that particular gate and block it. And they found one that apparently seems like it can be quite effective if given within the first 4 hours before the toxin gets into all the cells. So, but after it's in the cell, it doesn't help. So that's a good piece of news because that drug is available on shelves, whatever. I can't remember what it was, but it's commonly available and
it's over the counter, so to speak.
Well,
and
for doctors anyway.
Just to let all the anti-vaxxers know, no, it's not ivermectin.
Ah,
Are you sure? Can you prove that?
Well, I guess we'll have to ask RFK Jr. He might say it is, but so what's the deal with that woman and this whole idea of like Why did she bring up this idea or assert that she's like fundamentalist atheist? How did that come
I,
about?
I don't know. I was going to give the very quick overview of what happened with her first.
Yeah.
So she essentially invited her ex-husband and in-laws and some other members of his family over for dinner, and she had apparently was planning on telling them she had a some stage 4 cancer, and that was she had a really serious thing she needed to tell them. That was the premise of the thing to get them to come, but the ex-husband didn't come along, but the other 4 that she invited did. That story about the cancer wasn't true, so that's one of the elements of the crime that's getting looked at fairly strongly. But so she fed them a meal that contained death cap mushrooms, and a couple of days later they started feeling ill, and or the next day they started feeling ill, and then over the next week, 3 of the 4 people died from it. So
So one person did survive then?
yes, yeah, maybe they didn't eat as much as the others. She also fed the meal to herself and to her kids.
What?
But her meal was dished out on a different color plate to everyone else's, and the kids' meals. I think the argument is that she added the death caps to the meal, like it wasn't cooked into the pot with them. They were just added to the meals served to the others, I think is the argument they're trying to make. And by using different color plates, she could make sure she didn't get them wrong. So that's the argument they're making. She said she bought the mushrooms from some Asian store. They were dried mushrooms from some Asian store, and that she didn't forage for mushrooms and she didn't own a dehydrator. That's what she told the police, but that was definitely not true either. So she was definitely a mushroom forager and owned a dehydrator that she'd thrown in the dump, like the next day. It was.
Well, that's pretty suspicious.
There's a lot of
classic
suspiciousness.
mystery, a classic crime.
So it's a big story, but it's they're into their 6th week, I think, of testimony. And,
I mean, it seems pretty clear that she's guilty, right?
It does, but also remember, it's got to be beyond a reasonable doubt. And
Sure.
Her comment about the dehydrator is that she panicked and lied to the police because she was afraid they would think she did it. And you go, damn, that's actually probably a pretty good argument in terms of raising some doubt.
I think if she was innocent, that would actually be something that could happen, right? Where she just like panicked.
Yeah.
The problem is that there are all of these like little coincidences.
Yeah, too many bits and pieces.
Yeah. Now, where it's starting to fail my sniff test the more and more that comes out about this.
Yeah.
Wait, so just going back to her, so her and her children, she claimed that they ate it, but they did not get sick.
No.
I mean, that seems pretty, pretty clear that, she didn't.
Yes, that it was deliberate.
There was some planning involved.
The other thing is, she apparently got on quite well with the in-laws. There was no fighting. There was no. So it's really it's such a strange story.
Yeah, what could the motive be for her to actually kill them?
The thing. Well, some people are suggesting that, like, she has made some posts about them being assholes or something who didn't help with the breakup or help that happen. But
well, I hope no one looks at my Twitter post after I get accused of murder or something.
Yeah,
I think that goes for all of us.
Yeah, she was saying that all she was doing was venting because she was angry at the time.
Yeah,
but she really cared for her in-laws. They were good people. Is also part of her argument. So she definitely wouldn't have tried to kill him, she says.
Yeah,
So
the
it's
problem that
so
the problem that I'm having, the part of this that does not pass my sniff test and makes the rest of it suspect to me is the whole blame the immigrant thing. I bought it. I
Oh,
bought these
what?
Oh,
No, it's the I bought the mushrooms. We're at the what was it, a Chinese store?
yeah. Well, in
Yeah.
Australia, that's basically where you would get the majority of dried mushrooms. You know, they sell lots of different types there. But yeah, so that's the one that would be most believable. Whereas
Right.
you can get dried mushrooms at the regular supermarkets, but they'd be more heavily regulated. But yes, it is a little bit slight racist thing going on there. But again, it's more believable than trying to say you got them from Woolworths.
Right, but here's the thing: I'm finding it difficult to believe. Like the part that I'm having the most difficulty with is I went to this store and they accidentally gave me lethal mushrooms.
Well, yeah, she's just saying, yeah, she bought it from. She couldn't remember which one it was that she went to either.
So ma'am, you're telling us you go to so many different Asian mushroom stores. Like, how many are we talking about here? 3,
Yeah.
4, 5, 10? Like what?
Yeah,
That's the part. That's where this story falls apart for me real fast.
Well, but it falls apart because other people would have reported deaths.
Yeah,
You know,
there would have been
it's
other
not
people
like-
if it.
Yeah,
if she got
it's not like there was
one
just
single
one
bag.
batch that she
Yeah.
took all of it, right?
Oh yeah,
yeah. There's no correlation between, yeah.
Yeah, so
that's
there's
an
lots
excellent
of-
point, QZ. I hadn't considered that. That's
there's lots of elements of guilt, but then there's a
Yeah.
few of these elements of maybe.
Just
So in terms
Well,
of that, beyond a reasonable doubt.
I do think she's guilty because she did say she's an atheist, so she has no morals.
That's true.
So
That's right.
we
No,
know
she was.
atheists.
No, she
Oh,
was.
is that right? She was? Okay.
Yes, she was, but she saw the. She got converted.
Oh, how convenient.
Yes.
Yeah, because her husband was religious. She was a fundamentalist atheist, and you go, oh, damn it!
What does
I didn't
that
know I
even
could be one of
mean?
those.
Yeah,
I know.
That's going
Well,
overboard.
I mean, like the thing is, like some of us are culturally atheists, where we just do it because it's obviously cool to be an atheist.
Yeah.
True.
I mean,
Yeah, we
No,
when I-
go to
when I
all
was
the
a
first-
fun
atheist
one.
holidays.
when I first started
Yeah.
experimenting with atheism, I was really more of a CNE atheist.
Wait, what is CNE?
Oh boy.
Somebody got it. There are people that are culturally Christian, so they only go to church on Christmas and Easter, so they're called CNE
Okay.
Christians.
Ah.
I see.
Ah,
So the joke is that I'm not really serious about my atheism. I'm only a CNE atheist.
I see.
fair enough. You're in it
Yeah.
for the girls,
Yes, exactly.
the hot atheist
Oh
girls.
damn it! Why am I not getting that?
Hey.
I did have a mate who
those,
joined the.
those atheist girls are so hot, it's unbelievable.
I did have a mate who joined the.
Sorry, I think I got the joke there.
I did have a mate who joined the Communist Party because he wanted to pick up hot communist chicks. It's a genuine, true story. And he went on holidays to Cuba because fuck America was
Yeah.
his
Well,
way
Cuba
of
would be
looking
pretty
at
good
this.
now.
Yeah, this is about 30 years ago, and he brought Cuban cigars back. But of course, to get to Australia from Cuba, you have to fly through America. So he's got all these Cuban cigars on him.
Oh boy.
But he got to bring them because he wasn't going outside of the, he was at a connecting flight.
He exploited that loophole. Yeah.
Yep, that's the one. But they definitely wanted to take him off him.
I don't blame him.
So
So she essentially brought up being a fundamentalist atheist just to say
Yep.
that
Well,
she's actually
yep.
a Christian.
yes, that's exactly it. She wanted to say she used to be bad, and now she's good Christian. And she converted because she went with her husband to church one time
I see.
and took communion, and she saw God basically, and that was it. She was then a Christian. That's what converted her. one
So why
visit to a church.
why is the trial still going on? She's a Christian, so she could not have committed this crime.
Yeah.
Plus, she's been
No,
forgiven of all of her sins. Therefore,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
So-
true. She could have just committed a crime because she knows that she's just going to get forgiven. She's still going to go to heaven. So
That's right.
I mean,
That's
she might as well just killed more people, being a Christian.
It's not a problem. But yeah, so that was the thing that really got me. And I thought, well, that's the sort of bullshit we see all the time from people like the what's the name of the fellow who's the cold case detective who was trying to disprove God.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, they always bring him up, right?
yeah, he uses cold case to prove the case for God, and he was trying to disprove God, and in doing so, he proved it and became a Christian. And you go, then you look at the timeline of his stories, and you go, none of that actually adds up. None of these timelines add up. So almost certainly, it was garbage, and
Grifter.
he's just using it to sell books. And boy, does he sell books!
Like I said, a
Uh,
grifter.
He goes on stage
Is
with
it
a
Wallace? Is it
Yeah,
J.
yeah.
Warner Wallace?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Tilton's
Tim.
put it in the
Tilted.
in the
Yeah,
chat.
I knew.
Oh.
I've heard about
He beat me.
Yeah, he got you
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
Tilting, that's the one. J. Warner Wallace.
Gold star for
He
Tilton.
wears a policeman badge as well when he's on stage.
I've heard of it, but I've never
That
seen
he
it.
can
So
conveniently
I
flash,
don't know.
every so often.
Yeah. And about all the years he did as a cold case detective, and you'd go, that's a stretch story as well, because the dates in which he did things and the cases that occurred don't add up. They just don't. Try and put them all together, and basically the only bios that are actually out there, though, for a lot of these people are the bios they put out themselves. So
Yeah.
I recall
actually
he
check it.
tried to do a chain of evidence thing for the Gospels being witness statements, and it's like going, no.
So
It's
how would
chain of
he
evidence
address
straight away? Pretty much.
I mean, how would he address the fact that the four Gospels tell completely contradictory stories? Like, oh
Easy
no,
peasy.
one person
No,
went
no.
to the
Statements
tomb.
on identical.
Yeah, it's easy.
oh no,
Which
no,
is
no. My
understandable,
favorite.
sure.
So QC, my favorite response to that is it is because they're so inaccurate.
Yeah,
you
I
can
know.
trust them.
Yeah,
They can't be. They're authentic.
That
they're
is
unique,
exactly
they can't
his
be.
argument. That is
Yes.
exactly his argument.
Yes.
Because he basically says if you were to interview some suspects for a case and they gave you identical stories, you could know that there was something up because the stories are identical. They've rehearsed it, but what there should be is differences. And you go, yeah, but people point out, say, well, that's a terrible analogy because if what they said is, well, I saw the person robbing a jewelry store and then running off on a motorcycle, and then the next person says, well, actually, no, it was a liquor store, and he drove away in a Ferrari. You just go,
Right.
what now?
Yeah, I mean, it's like
minor differences.
they're all
but-
making it up, right? If
Yeah.
there's that much difference, they're all making it up.
Yeah.
That's
And
why.
when you point out to them that it was at least one or two generations after the alleged events before they got written down, and none of it is written down or even presented as being primary sourced. So you have hearsay being written down decades after the fact.
Well, I mean, and they're pretty. Looks like Blarg. See, when Blarg goes away and comes back, I put him back on right away. I don't even
that's,
wait.
that's because you always liked him better than me.
The thing is, they're pretty much admitting that the stories are just from a bunch of unreliable witnesses. They're like, oh, we just took some guy who said that they saw Jesus at the tomb, and we also believe this guy that said that he wasn't at the tomb, and there were actually two angels. I mean, just like completely,
Yeah,
they're
those
able to just accept all that difference and use that to actually say that it's actually more true because of all those
Yes.
differences.
see that part I wouldn't actually have too much of a problem with. You know, the minor details of how many people were there and the likes. That stuff actually that would work fine. I'd be happy with that argument. But there are much bigger differences. You know, the
Wait, no, the difference is like
just big.
on one account they saw Jesus, on another account they did not see Jesus. I mean,
Yeah,
that's
that's
like
where the
a
problems are.
huge difference.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whereas it was one person, or was it two people, or was it the women who got
Yeah,
there
yeah.
first? You know, those are fine. Those minor details, those are fine. They're the stuff basically that he concentrates on. But yes, when you start to get bigger and bigger differences, you start to get into the liquor store versus jewelry store robbery scenario. It's not close.
Just FYI, I know Tuna I think joined a little bit late. So Tuna, I was just like off of social media for a couple weeks, and so you probably haven't seen any posts from me on X at the last couple weeks. It's just been busy, so nothing really serious or anything. That was disrupting my life. It was just more of just been very busy with just work and just at home. So, but yeah, thanks for thinking of me. And yeah, so I guess we kind of went off on a tangent a little bit because of with the mushroom woman. So the whole idea of her kind of essentially using atheism to, I guess, to make her Christianity more sincere. Do you think that's kind of what she was trying to do?
Yeah,
That's what it sounds
surely.
like to me.
Yep. Let's go. She found Jesus. She just needed some way to explain that she's a good Christian
Mm-hmm.
to try and make it get some sympathetic votes from the jury.
Yeah.
So for the Christians, is it better that that someone was like kind of a wayward person, an atheist, and then become a Christian, as opposed to being a Christian from the beginning, right? A devout Christian from the moment that they were baptized as a child. It, do you think that Christians actually value one over the other?
Don't know.
So okay,
Well,
I've actually had this conversation with my brother, who has still holds out hope for my soul. Uh, so his understanding of Catholic teaching is that whenever you make the genuine conversion, since you're being admitted into eternity, there's no such thing as late to eternity. So the person who shows up, in other words, the very first person in heaven is getting the exact same amount of time in heaven because time doesn't exist in heaven.
No, but is it like the prodigal son, where the prodigal
Yes.
son is valued more than the sons that were there with the father the whole time?
Well, okay. So this is where it gets difficult for me because I don't want to advocate on his position, but
You guys play devil's advocate. It could hurt you.
I do a hell of a job playing devil's advocate. The idea there is that story is about a later in life conversion, but it is how we will put actually undo. He actually sees the prodigal son as a warning story. We put too much emphasis on those that leave and come back rather than glorifying those that have held the path the longest. But at the end, we should all be celebrated because we've all come to the right and glorious blah blah blah. I don't know if that made a whole lot of sense.
I don't know about that.
Okay, so
Not
the
you, though.
idea is that yes, we should all be using the lifelong Christian as the virtue. In other words, somebody who has stayed the path, because that's the one that's the hardest. It's easy to come back after you realize, oh, the real world sucks. I'm going back to dad. Like that's easy to that's easy to have a conversion experience there, but in the end, whenever you make it to God is when you make it to God, regardless of you being on day one after baptism or going out and selling your wild oats and realize, oopsie, I just committed a murder. That's bad. I'm going to put the mushrooms away and convert. If it's genuine, then you're in either way.
So from a jury point of view, would a jury get more sympathy because she's an ex-atheist?
I
Statistically,
think they
yes.
love the redemption story,
Yeah.
which is why they lap up these books about I was an atheist and then I found God. Because nobody wants to hear a story about I was a Christian and then I stayed a Christian.
Right.
Yeah.
Because then it's like, oh, so you never actually thought for yourself. You believed what you were told when you were 5. Like it's no win.
Yeah, and it's a good way of them having a person then can come on and complain about how bad it was being an atheist and how stupid those people were, and now I realize it, and you've got a great story to tell.
Yeah, we love a comeback story.
Yeah, so that's my
Kim
suggestion
Kardashian
about it.
No.
Yeah, it's the whole idea of the self-made person, of the myth of the self-made person is in American mythology, is sort of at that root of why you find so many people converting from one ideology to another, especially when they go on trial, because there's this perception, and unfortunately, it would appear that there does seem to be a correlation. It's very hard to establish causation, but there does seem to be a statistical uptick for those that started out as atheist and became Christian, Christian and then became Muslim or whatever, for trial and when they were in prison. So early releases are some. There does seem to be some correlation as well there, where if you convert while you're in prison, there seems to be a correlation on those situations and people being released early. So that's why prisons have the term Christian only while incarcerated, Jewish only while incarcerated. So there's the Cowies, the Maois, the Jowies, because those people seem to only be doing it for performative reasons.
By the way, just in terms of the comeback story, do you guys know about the joke in Parks and Rec about that? It's actually from a deleted scene.
Unfortunately, I never watched the show. You can sue me for that. I never watched it.
Okay, all right. You can. So this is from a deleted scene about Parks and Rec. So this didn't air. Okay.
Everyone loves a good comeback story, right? Seabiscuit, the Mighty Ducks,
Robert Downey Jr. Who
Rocky.
else? Yes.
Kim Kardashian.
Well,
In the video, she gets cum on her back, I think.
Oh my God!
Oh!
Wow!
That's why
That's just the best.
That's amazing.
I'll give Chris Pratt his
when he
views
was funny.
there.
Yeah.
Well said, buddy.
Yeah, I always whenever someone brings up comeback stories, I always remember that one.
That is glorious.
That was the most perfect thing you could have said at that point, right there. 10 out of 10. 5 stars, yes.
I had one of those moments last night, actually, talking to my nephews. They're big fans of anime, and I'm not sure I can't remember the name of the anime he was watching, but he was saying that it's the good guy and he's up against the bad ones who are apparently called androids, but he calls them. He said they're actually cyborgs. But anyway, and the good guys said to one of the ones he's about to fight, something about why would I want to fight a glorified dishwasher? And he says, and I'm not calling you a dishwasher because you're an android. I'm calling you a dishwasher because you're a girl.
Oh,
Yes,
Go,
yes,
oh,
yes.
holy crap!
They could waste
my,
some
my,
shit with those
favorite,
things.
my favorite line from Parks and Rec, though, of all time, QC, is you can trust me because I don't care about you enough to lie.
Oh, when I don't remember that.
It was in season 6. The actress who plays Agatha in the Marvel universe.
Oh yeah, yeah, I know her.
Yeah, in Parks and Rec, she plays this political consultant, and she's like, "You're better than this town. You're bigger than this town, and you need to go on to other things, and I can get you there. And you can trust me because I don't care enough about you to lie." And they just let that line land and just let it percolate because it is so gloriously vicious and purely truthful. And I will spend the rest of my life trying to create a situation where I can use that as the perfect mic drop moment to walk away.
Yes.
All right. One joke about the dishwasher joke. This reminded me of this. I think it's this one. Hopefully, it's this one. You guys can watch.
You look worried to say the answer of this. You look worried to say the answer of this.
I know this one.
This might be the end of our friendship, Hammer.
I don't know if you guys ever seen this.
I have. I know what this one is.
Okay.
Oh, this one.
This guy's hilarious just
I
because
want to hear the joke again. I don't even.
he always like laughs
What's
himself.
the joke again? I've forgotten it. You've been laughing for so fucking long.
What's another night?
Coming inside of a woman. Yeah.
Lighting the dishwasher.
Just your face. Just your face on that.
Oh,
Oh man, 2 cum jokes
it's so.
Oh,
from me. I'm like setting a trend or something. I don't
That's
want the
definitely
third
become a
one to
habit.
be.
Yeah, this is one that. Yeah, but not all the time. But this has got to be for special occasions.
That's what she said.
All right. So, okay, to be serious, I did want to recommend this one video, and I think the subscriber, I haven't seen too many more of her video, but this particular video, and I'll put a link in the comments, but she kind of goes over the Epic of Gilgamesh. So it's actually a really good way to just kind of hear about the Epic of Gilgamesh. I know the basic story, so I was familiar with kind of the plot points that she went through. But it was kind of interesting to just kind of hear her sort of talk through it. And I think she's an archaeologist or something, so she does have kind of like actual background in this. And some of her other videos seem pretty interesting. So I'll be going through some of her other content. But I thought this was really good, especially with there is a lot of connection between the Epic of Gilgamesh and what's in the Bible. The flood stories there, the creation stories, and all that. So this is worthwhile watching. So I highly recommend it.
Okay.
All right. So, do we want to go to the Jordan Peterson thing? Are you guys all familiar with what that whole Jordan Peterson
For the
versus
most
20
part,
atheists?
yeah.
Yeah, it's
debacle,
gotten
yeah.
some attention. Actually, so the one that this guy, the way he talked to Jordan Peterson, really I think got a lot of people
he got under his
interested.
skin. I'm just gonna say he got under.
Yeah,
his skin.
he got under Jordan's skin, but I guess the question that he was responding to was everybody worships something even though they might not know it. So the whole idea is that you're not an atheist. You are you still worship something, which is a stupid argument I've heard quite a bit.
We all have.
Yeah. And for those of you who don't know, it was basically this thing called Jubilee, where they have a prominent person, and they have like 20 other kind of someone on people on the opposite side of the argument, and what they do is at the beginning, they put out a topic, and whoever gets to the mic first gets to have like kind of a one-on-one discussion with that person, and they can get voted out by, and I'm not sure that they use that format here, but if the other people who didn't get on, they can kind of vote you down because the topic might not be interesting or whatever. And the other way you can get kind of your conversation could stop is if the person basically just says, okay, I'm not going to talk to you. So those are the two ways.
There's a time limit, I think, as well.
Yeah, there's also time limit. But they kind of, because of that whole interaction, even though it was fairly short, it was pretty inflammatory. They kind of put it at the beginning to try to get people interested in the video. So I'll play that part. But
This
initially,
young fellow was good.
yeah,
He knew what he was doing. His arguments were excellent.
Oh yeah, he actually discussed it on Discord server not too long ago while I was on.
So the big thing with this whole Jubilee thing with Jordan Peterson was that initially this whole thing was supposed to be a Christian versus 20 atheists. And then after this interaction, basically Jordan, I guess he has some creative control over aspects of this video. So it seems like they changed it to Jordan Peterson versus 20 atheists because Jordan Peterson didn't want to identify himself as an atheist, as a Christian. Yeah. Like a little slip there, and a lot of Christians are kind of lambasting him for it, for not being able to say directly that he's a Christian. But let's listen.
He's been avoiding that for years, over and over.
Yeah,
I think Alex O'Connor has a video talking about him not being a Christian.
Yeah, because arguably he's actually said things that makes it seem like he's an atheist.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is only a few seconds, so let's just listen to this.
You're a Christian.
You say that. I haven't claimed that.
Oh, what is this? Is this Christians versus atheists?
Don't be a smartass.
Either you're a Christian or you're not. Which one is it?
You're really quite something, you are.
Aren't I? But you're really quite nothing. Right? You're not a Christian.
Okay, I'm done with him.
That was basically it. That's what got him kicked out.
Yeah.
Yes, don't make me actually answer a question.
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, even things like, what do you mean by belief? At some point he says that.
Yeah, and then his response to it.
I love how Peterson will, over and over again, he'll dish it out, but he cannot take it.
Yeah.
He is such a thin-skinned paper tiger. It is, I do not understand how this individual has gotten any kind of notoriety and clout whatsoever. If you listen to his boilerplate self-help, self-wanker, okay, I'm sorry, I'm going on a rant. I'm going to stop. But he really,
his arguments are really horrible.
Yeah.
Matt Dillahunt.
Oh, go for it.
Sorry. Oh, I was just going to say Matt Dillahunt has a video out today calling him the Duke of Deepities, looking at the his response to the question about belief.
Because
what is belief though? What is your definition of belief?
Well apparently, if you believe something,
that's what your definition of is.
That's about right.
That's a deep.
You have to be prepared to die for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was such a horrible argument. You know, it's like, no, you don't have to. And him just avoiding like hypotheticals. Like, well, I think this is what's the guy's? Oh, Parker Get a Job. I think that's his YouTube channel. So he's the one who brought it up, and then he was trying to create this hypothetical where whether you would lie to the Nazis to protect Anne Frank, and Jordan Peterson just would not respond to that.
No, of course not. Because again,
No.
he would have to stake a moral position and then defend it. But that's not his brand.
Yeah.
His brand is to make these superficial, clean your room and stand up straight. Okay, well then, and what do you mean? And okay, cool, Mr. Peterson, but what do you mean when you talk about God? Well, I mean the concepts. I mean, you worship something. Well, we all worship things. Okay, well, let me move the goalpost again and say, yeah, but there are things that are timeless, because we can all disagree on the things that are timeless. Yeah, but no, not really. He will not stake a definitive position. And he does so with such consistency that he is so consistently inconsistent that it boggles my mind. That there's some more news, which is another YouTube channel that I happen to really enjoy.
Cody Shoddy.
Yeah, Cody Shoddy. Yes, 100%. I love all things Warmbo, by the way. So if they just re-released the episode that they did about Jordan Peterson, and it's just this 3-hour-long deep dive where basically anytime that you back this guy into a corner, he goes, "Yeah, I know it's tough, but what are you going to do, man?" Like that's almost always his argument at the end of the day when you actually try to get anything of substance out of him. So it's like I'm familiar with Jordan Peterson versus 20 Atheists, but if you look, there's a woman who gets him to actually define worship, and he's so slippery because as soon as he has to face the logical inconsistency or the logical consequences of his bad definition of worship or exonerate thing, then he tries to change the definition again. Like he's constantly moving the goalpost. He just irritates me.
Yeah, but what you don't understand is that it's not merely that the hierarchical substrate of being predicates itself on an axiomatic foundation of reciprocal determinism.
I'm going to go boil a lobster.
It's not that the individual as a locus of existential sovereignty must contend with the archetypal chaos of undifferentiated potential while simultaneously integrating the logos-mediated structure of negotiated order across multidimensional domains of social cognitive emergence.
You know what? Since you put it that way.
Yeah. I mean, it's just like so much empty, statement.
A word
just
salad.
Word salad.
Word salad that no dressing can help.
If you can't explain it to a 5-year-old, can you say that you really understand it? That's my question to Peterson across the board.
I mean, the thing is, like, so he's, I think a lot of it is, these kind of, I guess, Jordan Peterson type of people who do get attention from especially like from the right, is that they present themselves like an intellectual, right? They sound like an intellectual. They can talk like an intellectual. And even if there's nothing behind it, it's that appearance is, enough that they get paid to come and talk to, Christian nationalists or, anti-trans bigots. They're going to come and talk to him. It's just, or pay him to, give them this like war salad that means nothing.
A tale told by an idiot, filled with sound and fury, signifying nothing.
Yep. So
that's all he is. He is sound and
fury. I haven't watched the whole thing. I just like seen the excerpts and I've seen some of the reaction videos, and I'm not sure. This whole thing is like hour and a half. I'm not sure it's worthwhile watching some of these other ones. Blarg, you said you did watch the whole thing. Is that right?
No, I watched about half of it.
Okay.
So, but it's just exactly what you see. But Yeah, that fella on screen you've got there, he was amazing. He's very, very good. Well, I hope that guy sticks around and makes a bit of a name for himself. Actually,
I've actually heard he's actually when I was when he came on my Discord server I'm on, it's one of the biggest politics religious servers on Discord. He was actually, I heard some people saying that he was actually going to get like the interview deals on some minor networks and all that. So he's starting to make around.
Yeah. This format, in some ways, is not too bad. I watched the Alex O'Connor verse 20 Christians episode.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Alex is on point there. He absolutely demolishes everyone who steps up against him. So it's as far from this particular clusterfuck as you can imagine. He does a great job of it. And then I also I started watching the Sam Cedar verse 20 MAGA.
Oh yeah.
And I couldn't take it. It just, Sam was amazing, but holy,
I mean, yeah,
wow.
I saw some excerpts of that, and some of the kind of things that the people got on and claimed, it was just like astounding.
Yeah, it just hurts to watch.
Yeah. And you know, the thing is, like, some of them sound like they at least have some information, but it's so astounding how much pieces of information it seems like they know of or have exposed themselves to that they fail to understand the meaning of. It's just, I mean, I don't know if it's cognitive bias or something, but it's just, I mean, I just don't see how some of those people can come to the conclusions that they do.
So it all kind of depends on so how much agency they take in the absorbing of the information. Take a look at what happened between Jim Edith and I. It was yesterday, a couple of days ago, where he tried to say that God wasn't outside of time and space; he transcends it. And I point out, you don't know what the word transcend means.
Sounds like Jim Edith.
Yeah, exactly. No, that's what I'm saying. Jim Edith is DK, to some extent Neppy, although he has a tendency Neppy will stay away from specific vocabulary words because he's face planted enough times. I think he actually learned not to use words that he didn't understand. But yeah, they'll use these words, and then they'll try to claim that words don't mean what they mean. Like you can omnipotent. God is omnipotent and has restrictions on his power, even though he's omnipotent because he has the quality of omnipotence. How can you have the quality, the characteristics of omnipotence, if there are limits on your power? How can you say that God is not outside of time and space and then use the word transcendent, which means outside of the concept, therefore outside of time and space? It's, for most of them, they hear the words said by Jordan Peterson, said by Fox News, said by Alex Jones. They hear the words, and I don't want to paint them as mindless parrots, but it gives them strength of identity to be able to say the things that are said by the people that they revere. And so there are some cases where there's just straight parroting, and those are the people that aren't thinking for themselves. But then there are also people that will go through cognitive dissonance and try to make it make sense because it's so much of their identity is wrapped up in these words and these ideas. So it's kind of like the gambler's fallacy. I have to keep playing now because I've lost so much.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they just they think if they just kind of throw out words that, you know, that it explains, or it it explains their belief. So when they say, you know, transcends time and space, you know, they don't know exactly what that means, but in their mind they've addressed some issue, right? That,
Well, they've been
you know,
told it explains what they believe.
Yeah. So so they can't explain to you what that means. It's just that, if you kind of talk about, well, why, for example, why doesn't God or why doesn't Jesus come back now? Well, he's out of space, out of our time and space. So, it means nothing to him that it's been 1,000 years, right? It's just kind of like just throwing things out to, just gloss over things. And same thing with creationism. It's intelligent design. Well, what are all the mechanisms of this design? How does that manifest itself in the nature? And they can't tell you the specifics.
No, of course not. Because
it's a little bit like the argument we've been having with Ivanos. Every single time he has something to say, with Ivanos 95, it just has some waffly garbage that basically is talking about some feeling he has about the way he thinks God is, and then the moment you put any questions associated with it, it starts falling apart, and he gets all uppity about it, and runs off and starts a completely different.
The point, Blug. You're missing the point.
Yes, you're missing the point. Always missing the point. You go, well, you can't make a point because the only points he has are these vacuous notions in his head that don't actually that are neither supported by logic or the Bible.
Right.
And to give everyone a chance to have a drink, when they talk about their objective morality, they can't even talk about the trolley problem.
The trolley problem.
No.
Steve-O's probably be pretty parched by now.
Not now. I'm good.
Hey, I mean, because if you have any moral system, you should be able to apply it to like something so prominent as that, right? Or any moral issue, like whether it's like, would you lie to the Nazis to protect Anne Frank? You should be able to address it, but they can't, right? All they can say is, no, we have objective morality and you don't.
Slightly on the topic, but also slight deviation. I'm forgetting the name of the poster, but it's more. They start with, "It's more than a little ironic that."
That's a pot in disguise.
Okay,
I can't remember what his handle is at the moment, but it's a pot.
Okay.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Because I can't decide if exposing them as just being a tool is more futility than normal. Because I've tried like outright asking, how is this a good use of your time? But I noticed that they have a tendency to not really ever engage in what's being said to them. Has anybody gotten an actual conversation out of them?
Not really.
I think some of the non-regular people have occasionally got them to respond to them, but any time that anyone that we know responds to them, you either get a repeat of what they just said or nothing.
Okay.
But,
I mean, they're obviously not here to engage with any integrity. Like that part's obvious. But it's just Neil, were you the one who was talking to me about in the comments section about how they view it as a fight, and so that they're trying to win the battle and win the war of ideology?
Yeah, I think that was me. Yeah.
Okay. Because the point that I was making is, even if we concede that as their framework, their actions would seem to imply that they understand inherently that they're in the wrong, because all they do is claim and blame. Like they'll just make a claim, blame us, then they'll just rant and run. It's literally just throw the grenade, and when it's proven over and over again that the grenade is a dud, don't even acknowledge and just come back and do it all over again.
Yeah, as I said, it's not about
which is an inherently weak position.
That they're right. It's just about them hitting.
But they're not even. But they have to see that. Well, not have to, but it seems obvious that they're getting no ground. Just putting it out there. If it's ignored, then that means that nobody's engaging with them. So if they're trying to get engagement, then they lose on that level. But if they are trying to get engagement, as soon as they get the engagement, they run away. It's a wholly illogical behavior pattern.
Did you ever play that game as a kid? We used to call it Knockdown Ginger. We used to run up to someone's door, knock on it, and then run away again.
Yeah.
Ding dong ditch and run or
That's
something.
how their behavior comes across to me as.
Yeah,
they're not doing it so that they can face you, so they can get your response, so they can, prove how brave they are in front of you. They're doing it for their mates with them to see that they're doing it.
Speaking of ding dong ditch, did you see there's a TikTok trend to change the way that works, where you try and kick the person's door in instead of just knock on it and run away?
Oh my God.
And yes, the obvious concern about that is you do that like 3 a.m. You go along, kick on someone's door in a place where there are more guns than people. What's the obvious outcome? And last week, the obvious outcome happened. A guy a week before his high school graduation was shot and killed by when he was doing that.
I think I heard about that story.
This is why I tell everybody that will listen, rule number 1 in life: don't do dumb things while doing dumb things.
Yeah.
That is just idiocy. That's a Darwin Award.
Yeah, right there.
Yeah, especially in Florida.
Yeah. Why is it always Florida, man?
I don't know, but they attract the crazies.
Yeah, it's a weird old place.
Wait, what does that mean? My phone won't let me type D on G as
Dong.
a word.
Oh, dong
D-O-N-G.
is a word. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Ding ding ditch. Ah, yeah.
Oh, ding dong ditch. Okay, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm thinking that seems a random comment out of nowhere. Look back up, you go, ding ding ditch.
Damn censors.
Derp.
I made a comment.
You would think Tilting's phone would remember him constantly typing dong.
Oh
boy.
You'd think so. Oh.
Come on.
Oh, that was wrong.
Gentlemen.
That was wrong.
Gentlemen.
Come on, man.
We were talking
Hey,
about Florida, which is, let's be honest, America's phallus. Now we're talking about dongs. I feel as if perhaps.
Actually, speaking of that, do you know? Has anyone ever? Oh, you'd know this, Neil. But the Mull of Kintyre test.
What?
It's triggered something in my head, but I can't remember it.
It used to be a thing on the BBC in UK that limited what sort of naked penis you could show on TV, and its level of erection couldn't be higher than the Mull of Kintyre.
What the hell?
If QC, if you could just
one of the execs had a picture of the Mull of Kintyre in their office.
If you just
how do you even spell that? I'm never sure what you're saying.
I've never heard of that.
MULL of KINTIRE.
Oh, Mall of Kintyre.
It's just a pointy rock. Okay.
Yeah, it's also a song.
Oh, Mall of Kintyre. Okay.
That one, yep.
Yeah.
That one, okay.
It's a place, but it's also just you got to pull up the map of the place to see exactly what it is that we're talking about. There,
is that? Oh, I see. Okay.
If you want to call Florida a dong, England's got its own. Well, the UK.
Wait, it must be. Well, I somehow something's wrong because this is Mall of Kintyre.
Oh, it's
Yeah, zoom
Scotland?
out. Zoom
Oh,
out.
zoom out. Okay. Oh, I
Yeah.
see. That's the level.
There we
Yeah,
go.
that's how flaccid it has
Love
to be.
turgid. Okay, I see. I see. Okay.
Yeah.
So it is kind of like it's sort of like Florida then, right?
Yeah.
It needs
It
to be
also
at the
has
Florida level of erection.
it also has a testicle
Right.
hanging under it as well.
Yeah, I was thinking.
It's about the same.
So you can show this on TV in Australia.
No, this was England in BBC.
Oh, in England. Okay. So on the BBC, you could show this
full frontal
level
nudity.
of
Yeah.
nudity. Okay.
Yeah, you can
Male
do that, yeah.
nudity.
I see.
For I think 5 seconds. I think was it 1, 2, 3 seconds.
Well, because at the 6th second, it is going to go up, right?
Oh.
Yeah. You can't keep it there by itself. You gotta stand up and have a look around.
Yeah.
And besides, who can avoid if you've got it out for that length of time? Who can avoid doing the windmill?
Oh my God! Stop it!
Or we call it the helicopter.
Round and around we go.
I'm not able to reach mine above my head, so I can't call it a helicopter.
That's only a you problem, sir.
So it's usually propelled horizontally. I did
Okay,
before we
so
before we
wait,
run
so
off.
I'm going to have to go for what is it? Oh shoot, what is that called? Hat trick. Okay, so
Oh,
Responsible
nice.
people?
Naysayers walk in on you while you're helping Barry build a rocket.
Barry the unstoppable psycho cyborg.
He's not unstoppable anymore. Ray's got bionic legs. But if you don't want to see two robots smashing each other with cop cars and shit as they fight to the death through the streets of Manhattan.
Stop. My penis can only get so erect.
He's there are times when I'll just go back and I'll binge watch all of Archer just cause.
yeah. So that's a meme I use pretty frequently on X. Stop, my penis can only get so erect. It's such a hilarious line.
It's I don't know, for some reason it's the
Oh yeah.
that's the part. I don't know why that's the icing on the cake. That's just perfect.
Yeah. All right. Okay.
Gentlemen,
All right. So
your high level of discourse has been achieved.
This has been
yeah, we've been all over the board. I think we tried to keep it on a couple of themes, but yeah.
The best.
All right. Archer is always golden. So I've kind of lost track after. I can't remember what season, but I need to go back and watch the remaining season. Yeah, I think that's about how far I got. I think it's the one after that whole dream season that I can stop watching.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so you can skip Archer Noir, or no, sorry, Archer Vice. You can skip that one. You can skip the one where he's in space.
Surely Charlene.
I mean, because yeah.
So
wait, is that 13 or 14 now? Oh my god!
Wow.
So it was like 13. It was 13 seasons. They wrapped it up. They left it open to do more episodes, but I don't know that that they're doing anything else with it right now. But you can pick up the last couple seasons. They do get back to the original story arc. All of the dream sequence seasons are fine. They're certainly funny because they are their own they're self-contained, but they're also very self-referential.
Yeah.
But if all you want is the actual arc of Archer, then you miss nothing by skipping over them.
Well, yeah, I'll try to catch that. Actually, a couple other recommendations in terms of video, like on Amazon Prime. There's a couple good ones. One is Reacher, which I think is pretty good.
Reacher's pretty
And
good.
if you haven't seen The Accountant, definitely watch it. It has Ben Affleck.
I saw
you know,
the second
that's
one in the theaters.
yeah. So I was just gonna say there's a sequel I haven't seen yet, but there's Accountant 2. But I would definitely recommend at least Accountant 1. That was a good movie. Any other recommendation before we wrap it up?
I just I did go and see the new Marvel movie. What's it called? Thunder something. Anyway.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
it was surprisingly good.
Okay.
I think it was gonna be good. I like that cast, and it's kind of funny, right?
Yeah, but the thing is, they spend a lot of time actually. The storyline is the story of the people. It's
They
his
actually do something.
backstory, and it's they do a fair bit of work on introducing you to all the characters.
Mm-hmm.
In doing it without it's not just backstory that's told; it's also backstory that's shown. So so yeah, it's a much better job than I was expecting, because I'd kind of got a bit bored of that whole world, and maybe that's why the movie didn't do so well in the box office. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's I thought it was quite good. The bad guy is also not a bad guy. He's just a harm.
Misunderstood.
Yep.
Well, he's got issues. Yeah,
Yeah.
he's got issues. So yeah, but he's devastatingly dangerous. So that was kind of interesting. And the other one that was fun. The other half, while I was in the kitchen the other night, come back in. She's put on one of my favourite movies of all time, just because it's just so terrible. Is Major Payne.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
yes.
really? Okay.
Yes.
One of the most quotable movies of all time. Just so good.
I just finished watching season 3 of Yellow Jackets. I found it to be surprisingly good. There's I don't know if you're familiar, if y'all are familiar with sort of the basic story.
No, not at all.
So yeah, Yellow Jackets. It's on Showtime, I think, that or Max. I forget. Anyway, this high school soccer team is on their way to nationals. Their plane crashes into the wilderness, and for reasons that really rise to a little more than just MacGuffin so that the show can happen, they're stranded in the wilderness for 18 months. And it's not just the story of how they survive, but also this cult that they develop from scratch, effectively, while they're in the forest, and what happens when aspects of that cult behavior follows them back after they get rescued. So it follows them in the woods, it follows them as adults, and it jumps back and forth between the past and the present, the way that Lost did. And there's enough ambiguity in the storytelling that it takes you a while to form the opinion of whether or not there is something supernatural going on, or is this mass delusion. And by the time you get to the third season, my opinion is that question is pretty well resolved. But I also can concede that it's well enough written that you could argue either way. So it was. I started off just thinking it was going to be kind of somewhat grim popcorn, which is my favorite kind of television, and it ended up being pretty decently well written. And it's got Christina Ricci in it, and
you can say it. You can say it.
Did you ever watch the series on Netflix called Dark? It's a
Is that the
German,
German one?
sci-fi. Yeah.
Yeah.
Bit confusing because you've got the same characters in these 30-year gaps. So it's the same town, the same place, the same characters, 30
Yeah.
years apart in different bits of story telling. Yeah, that thing it's well worth sticking with because yeah, I enjoyed that a lot actually. But a bit difficult to watch because of the same character and different faces, really.
Yeah.
Yeah, good one.
All right. Okay. So we'll wrap it up here. Thanks everyone for coming on. I think we've lost some of our regular viewers, which is fine. This is, I think, mostly for us, kind of chewing the fat, so to speak. But definitely appreciate those of you guys who are on. I don't know if Tuna Man is still on, but hey, Tuna and Tilting. I'm sorry you missed last week, but at least you're here this week, so glad to see you here. And hopefully we'll see you guys all back next week. And thanks everyone on the panel for.
Maybe we can
Yeah.
talk about the Elon Trump
Yeah.
where they've got up
Yeah.
to by then, because
Yeah.
I'm sure there'll be juicy details by next week.
Yeah,
I mean,
let
like
that marinate for a minute.
I mean, I don't know how anyone could have foreseen that something like this would happen, but apparently it did. So
Yeah, let that marinate for another week or 2 weeks. We'll see how that goes out.
all right, sounds good. We'll talk about that next week. All right. See you
Can't
guys.
wait for the
All right,
two.
good night, everybody.
See ya.
All right. Night.
Bye all.